am reacting to your Night of Champions 2025 Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether those are good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you're following me on X because I ask for your hot takes there after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every single WWE Premium Live event. Which, by the way, the next Premium Live event is literally in 2 weeks, so don't blink, folks. Now, if you are looking for our full review of Night of Champions with footage, that is going to be available over on patreon.com/SantiZap. So if you want to get that version of the review, make sure that you check out the Patreon, link in the description or link in the pinned comment. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, folks, let's see what you sent in. Solo Sakoa does not deserve the United States title. He has been given multiple opportunities, but he fell flat every time because he simply isn't good enough. He still lacks character depth, promo ability, and he sucks in ring. And him as United States champion is a joke. All right, I think we need to sit down, relax, because I think that you're being entirely way too harsh about Solo Sakoa. If the WWE was only full of people that knocked it out of the park the first time that they were given an opportunity, we honestly wouldn't have that many people in the WWE. It is a common thing for people, especially early on in their career, to get a push and simply fall flat. Look at John Cena, for example. He was nearly fired when he fell flat. Randy Orton's first World Heavyweight Championship run was so bad that it ended in 30 days, and the current top babyface in the company was running around wearing face paint pretending to be a cosmic being. So I don't want to exclude people from getting opportunities again to get pushed simply because they fell flat before. And I'm also going to be honest with you, I disagree with you with many of these points. He lacks character depth. I think he's been one of the deepest characters that WWE has had in the last several months. I think that his promo abilities have actually been fantastic and really entertaining. His in-ring, I agree, kind of sucks, but I don't think that he's going to be a joke as a US champion. In fact, I'm really looking forward to see how his character develops as a United States champion. I get it. If you don't like Solo Sakoa, you don't like Solo Sakoa, but simply because he fell flat before, I don't think is a reason why you should exclude him from him getting an opportunity again in the future or in the present. When Cody returned, he said he wasn't going to make the same mistake twice, and he will do anything to win the title back. During that match, Cody never hesitated, whereas for Randy, even though he said that he wouldn't hesitate, he did. From now until December, that heel turn is coming. You guys realize that they're just doing the Kevin Owens heel turn again, right? This is the exact same formula that caused Kevin Owens to turn heel right after Bash in Berlin. Now, I know that the story goes that Kevin Owens turned heel on Cody Rhodes because he started hanging out with the Bloodline and helping Roman Reigns, so I don't think that there's something that'll be a catalyst like that for Randy Orton, but it was also a Bash in Berlin that Kevin Owens also hesitated, and because of that, Cody Rhodes was able to retain the championship. And then beyond that, we ended up getting one of the best feuds of the entire 2020s, one of the best grudge feuds that I've seen in quite some time. And I genuinely think that Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, as good as it was, is going to pale in comparison to what we're going to get here. This was just step one of what could genuinely be a 2+ year long feud that could absolutely blow our minds. I think that you made a great point. Cody Rhodes said that he wasn't going to hesitate. He didn't hesitate, and it was that lack of hesitation, that ability to be a tiny little bit of a heel that allowed him to pick up the victory against Randy Orton, and it's possible that that might be the first snowflake going down this snow mountain into the inevitable giant avalanche that is the Cody Rhodes heel turn. But I also obviously see what you're saying with a Randy Orton heel turn, because that to me is just so warm and cozy. It's like warm apple pie to have Randy Orton as heel because it just makes sense. WWE on Netflix is legitimately the best thing ever because I get Raw, SmackDown, NXT, every single WWE Premium Live event, and a giant catalog of old WWE shows, all with my Netflix subscription. Unfortunately, that isn't the case for all of you because many of you, especially in the United States, still have to watch these shows on traditional cable where you get peppered with lame commercials. And while you're on commercial, I get more of the WWE shows that I love. So let's fix that that with today's wonderful sponsor, Surfshark VPN. With Surfshark, you can easily change your location to, say, the Great White North of Canada. And then you'll be able to get Netflix programming from that region, which of course includes all of your favorite WWE shows without commercials. Plus, while you're there, you can just keep watching some of the other shows that are exclusive to Canadian Netflix if you wanted to. You can also try Surfshark completely risk-free because of their 30-day money-back guarantee policy. But it gets even better because if you visit surfshark.com/SantiYT, you're gonna get 4 months extra on top of your 2-year plan. By the way, Netflix has WWE programming for the next 5 years, so your 2-year plan is something that you're gonna get the full use out of. Again, that's surfshark.com/SantiYT to get 4 months extra on top of your 2-year plan. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get you back to the wrestling that you came for. They need to end the Punk versus Seth feud soon. It's honestly getting kind of old. I'd end it at SummerSlam, let them have a gimmick match, maybe even Hell in a Cell, and let them go their separate ways. Look at us wrestling fans getting tired of too much of a good thing. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins is obviously a fantastic feud. I am roasting a little bit. I'm also kind of wondering, when are we going to get to the natural conclusion of this? Because these guys, they can hate each other for the rest of time, for the rest of their careers, but at some point or another, as you said, we do need to find a way to go our separate ways so that CM Punk and Seth Rollins can do new stuff that is exclusive away from each other. Something tells me that Roman Reigns is not coming back at SummerSlam. We had the news come out that he's now going to be filming the Street Fighter movie, and I don't know if that's going to end up conflicting with his SummerSlam match. Even if the filming is shortly after SummerSlam, I don't know if the movie studio is going to want Roman potentially getting hurt right before he starts filming. Again, I don't know how these Hollywood contracts work, but I am predicting that we might not get Roman at SummerSlam, so I think that a natural next step here would be what you're suggesting, and the Seth Rollins versus CM Punk feud at the very least for the near future at the very minimum. I am at the point where I would say that a stipulation match is absolutely warranted. We already had the match on Monday Night Raw. We've had the triple threat match with Paul Heyman involved, and the story and the history and the hatred that these guys have. I think something like Hell in a Cell for the biggest SummerSlam ever is absolutely warranted. Seth Rollins' failed cash-in is the right way to do it if you're going to do one at all. He didn't look dumb like most do with their fake cash-in attempts. Rollins looked like he was genuinely trying to execute a strategic plan, but Cena and Punk were legitimately stopping him. I couldn't agree more. I loved this fake cash-in, and I don't want to seem like I'm a hypocrite because I have to acknowledge that I typically hate fake cash-ins. But this fake cash-in felt purposeful. This fake cash-in, like you said, felt like they were executing a strategic plan. They were being patient. They were being methodical. They weren't rushing to the ring with a ref screaming like an idiot. They were walking with intent to the ring, and I thought that looked badass as hell. It was a nice change of pace from the traditional run frantically, choking a ref along the way to try and get a cash-in to happen. So I agree, if you're gonna do a fake cash-in, the way that they did it here by making Seth Rollins look like he had a plan ready to execute, and it took the power of all of these baby faces to stop that planning from actually being able to be executed, including two legends of the industry for a second having to work together even though they were just going to war with one another in CM Punk and John Cena. This was a brilliant way to do a false cash-in. I'm just glad that Kross was able to prove to all the people saying that he doesn't take back bumps wrong. It wasn't the best match of the night, but it was an enjoyable match in my opinion. Listen, when I was doing my live stream and I was saying, aha, see, he does take back bumps, I was saying that ironically. I wasn't really actually celebrating that. Why the hell would I celebrate Karrion Kross taking a back bump to prove people wrong? That's like celebrating a lifeguard because he proved to me that he can swim. Thank God you can swim. I would expect for you to be able to swim if you're a goddamn lifeguard. So if you're waving the flag, unironically celebrating that Karrion Kross proved to the world that he took a back bump, you are reading the wrong script here. If the people that were celebrating it, we were doing it as a meme. I agree, it wasn't the best match. It wasn't the worst match either. It was a match that I don't think I'm going to talk about more than when it happened. It wasn't very memorable. And I just don't think that just simply having a halfway enjoyable, decent match was good enough for what Karrion Kross needed to accomplish with this showing, which was to show the world that he deserves TV time, that he deserves matches, that he deserves to be pushed. I don't know that I got that out of this match. Cody Rhodes should win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, and then hopefully we could get a John Cena Intercontinental Championship run so he can become a Grand Slam champion. All right, let me take this thing from two approaches, all right? If he were to lose, say, at SummerSlam, I think that this is a great pivot for him, another accolade to go after, and this allows John Cena to interact with the mid-card and thus putting new superstars into the main event scene on his way out. This would be a good plan B in a world where John Cena loses the Undisputed Championship to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. However, all right, and I want to be very clear about this, after seeing how the John Cena heel run has evolved with him as champion, after seeing how fun that main event was with CM Punk, I'm sorry, I want him to hold beyond SummerSlam. I want something to happen in the match versus Cody Rhodes that allows John Cena to get away with this championship again, because the Cena heel run as WWE Undisputed Champion finally got good, and I don't want it to end. The momentum is there. It's right there, and I think we can carry that momentum deep into Crown Jewel, into the maybe the last Saturday night's main event when he retires. I want to see more of heel Cena with the WWE Undisputed Championship. And I promise you, I'm not saying this just because I'm a Cena mark that want to see him as a champion for as long as possible. I just genuinely believe that it finally got good in the eyes of pretty much everyone, not just Cena fans. So why halt the momentum as early as SummerSlam when the momentum could carry you well past that? Cena is gone, like gone forever at the end of the year. So why rush him out of this championship scene when you have a natural exit point for him anyway? You don't have to rush putting it on Cody Rhodes, because unlike John Cena, who is gone, Cody Rhodes is there. He's going to be there for the rest of his career, most likely. So I don't think there needs to be any rush to put this thing back on Cody Rhodes, especially when Cena's heel run is really just starting to cook. Two old men did old man stuff. The match sucked, but the storytelling was good and catering was cleared out. Oh my God, look at me, man. My opinions are so different and I'm so edgy. I bet you've got a shirt that says, "Don't be a sheep, be a lion." Match was great, dude. It just objectively was. Even without the storytelling, even without all of the shenanigans, it was a solid match. John Cena and CM Punk just have impeccable chemistry with one another. I literally squinted my eyes and it felt like I was watching Money in the Bank 2011, one of my favorite matches of all time. But hey, you be different. You do you, boo-boo. This match was a chaotic, overbooked mess in the best way possible. I can understand why some people hated it, but personally, I loved every second of it. Yeah, I also want to make it clear that I can understand why people wouldn't like this type of match. If you don't like Bloodline rules, if you don't like the overbooked mess that was the WrestleMania 40 main event, if you didn't like all of the crazy shenanigans that happened in this match, I honestly don't blame you. Me personally, I was on board. And the reason I was on board was because the craziness at the end of the match didn't save a bad match. The match on its own right, I genuinely thought was fantastic. The craziness at the end just added a shit ton of unpredictability to it. Genuinely, for the last 5 minutes, the second we heard Seth Rollins' music hit, I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no idea who was going to come out. I had no idea if maybe Roman was going to come out. I had no idea if it was going to be a successful cash-in, a fake cash-in. I had no idea if Punk was going to win, if Cena was going to win. I was on the edge of my seat, genuinely wondering what the hell was next. And as somebody that's been watching wrestling as long as I have, if at any moment a wrestling match could genuinely have me not knowing where it's going to go, then that's a successful ride to be on. But again, if you don't like that style of overbooked messes, people coming out left, right, and center, shenanigans, interferences, then fair enough. The ending of this match wasn't for you. But again, I want to clarify that I don't believe that this match was good because of the chaotic ending. I think this match stood on its own as a very good match. Double turn of Cody Rhodes and John Cena is the only real choice at SummerSlam. Cena hesitates because of the fans' cheers are influencing him. Cody doesn't hesitate to get back what he lost, gives Cody a heel turn and stops the concern of being stale. Cena can be cheered for his final 4 months. You know, if I didn't see everything play out the way that it did at Night of Champions, I would just label you as a crazy conspiracy theorist. But it's possible. Like, genuinely, at the very least, the playbook has been put in front of us. Because in a night where Cody Rhodes was a little bit of a heel against Randy Orton, working the back like a heel would, and also taking advantage of the exposed turnbuckle like a heel would, at the very end of the night, we had John Cena, who was about to be a heel, and then because of the fans, stopped being a heel for a second, threw down the title, and decided to win on his own merit. I don't know if that's like a coincidence or on purpose, but in my mind, in my head canon, those things might be related to one another, and if they're related to one another, a double turn is a possibility. Cody Rhodes isn't universally cheered anymore, at least not all of the time. He was booed against John Cena. He was definitely not the crowd favorite against Randy Orton. So maybe if we start to get more boos from arenas around the world, maybe somewhere soon we get an actual proper Cody Rhodes heel turn. Solo deserves an actual run with the United States title. His character work has improved so much and the humor works well. Jacob is definitely taking it back at SummerSlam though. I also agree that he deserves a proper run, but I don't think that he's going to get one. I think that he's going to lose it to Jimmy. I think he's going to lose it to Jacob. I think that WWE has two guys that they probably prefer to have the United States Championship over Solo Sakoa. Maybe the plan is just to keep making Jacob an even bigger and bigger star, and maybe the intention here is to give him a championship victory at a huge show, much like they did with Braun Breaker last year, finally defeating Sami Zayn at SummerSlam for the IC title so that he can get his big moment at the big bad show of the summer. Maybe they want the same thing here for Jacob Fatu, because that would be two huge moments for Jacob Fatu, right? Winning at WrestleMania, winning at SummerSlam. That's about as huge of a vote of confidence as it could possibly get for a guy in the mid-card trying to make the jump to the main event scene. But I want to see heel, funny, like shit-eating grin Solo Sikoa as United States champion for a while, especially with this lame-ass faction that he has. I think that they could be comedy gold. While I'm glad that Raquel is finally being built as a legitimate threat, it's coming way too late. She looked incredible, but she needed that win to solidify her spot. Having Rhea squash Roxy, what was the point of flying her out for that in a 2v1 was weird. You know what? I actually agree. You had Roxanne Perez out there. You had all of the perfect reasons to justify Rhea Ripley losing here. Not only would this give Rhea Ripley an easy justification for her loss, but also it allows the WWE to help solidify not just Raquel Rodriguez, but also solidify your new tag team champions, which are obviously going to be Raquel and Roxanne Perez. I know that they're talking about this thing that they're going to do with the women's tag titles. Listen, there's no division to even brainstorm a tournament for. Just give the damn second title to Roxanne Perez already. But maybe that isn't the plan, and maybe that's why they didn't have this 2v1 be successful. But and look, I also think it was weird that Rhea won this. You know what? I think weird might be the wrong word, because it should be expected. You know, she's WWE's golden goose in the women's division. So it does make sense that WWE would want her on top at Saudi Arabia. But I can't help but think that it is a missed opportunity to help solidify two people who help need being solidified versus one that isn't just solidified, is already at the top of the freaking mountain. By the way, I also agree that it is coming way too late that Raquel is finally being made out to be a badass. Where was this Raquel when she returned at Bad Blood? This is exactly what I wanted out of her when she was Liv Morgan's bodyguard. I wanted her to be the Diesel to her Shawn Michaels. I really wanted her to be able to be the one to stand the ground and not get chased off like a little scaredy cat by Rhea Ripley every single week. But now she's here. She's a badass. She looked great. I thought the match was solid as well. I just wish she won. Penta made sense. Rollins and company made sense. But Sammy, it should have been replaced by LA Knight. Yeah, this is exactly what I said in my review. I know that some people are kind of like weirded out by the idea of seeing Penta, who in many people's eyes is still just a mid-card luchador out there with the likes of Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and John Cena. I thought it made sense, and I thought it was awesome. Obviously, Rollins and Braun Security made sense, but Sami Zayn was literally just there for the pop. Sami Zayn has not been feuding with Seth Rollins and company for a while now. It 100% should have been LA Knight, and I honestly think LA Knight would have gotten just as big a pop, if not bigger, than Sami Zayn at that particular moment. Dude, Saudi loves LA Knight. Genuinely, they adore that man. They would have popped out of their freaking seats if they heard that music. Biggest question after the best Saudi card ever: is Charles Robinson dead? Dude, that That was so gnarly. Shout out to Charles Robinson for being an absolute baller, taking a nasty bump for the sake of our entertainment while sprinting as well. This man got bodied after sprinting like friggin' Usain Bolt to the ring. That is a man that is committed to the craft, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Charles Robinson. I hope you're all right, man. CM Punk saved John Cena's declining career. Love it or hate it, this is the truth, and you have to accept it. Yes, the declining career of somebody who is retiring with arguably the greatest resume in professional wrestling history. Yeah, brother, that's a declining career. I could maybe agree with you if it was a declining heel run. I would say that it was CM Punk that made John Cena's heel run feel like it's truly properly started, like it finally started gelling, like it was finally the thing that we were clamoring for all of these years, but saved John Cena's declining career. Okay. Reminds me of when Gunther had the nerve to say that Randy Orton's career was a disappointment. All right. Sure. All right. I get the way that they dethroned Fatu, but this should have never happened tonight. They should have kept Fatu champion up until SummerSlam and then dethrone him. Where does Triple H go from here? Well, I thought that this would have been the SummerSlam match when they were setting everything up with everything that happened at Money in the Bank. I thought for sure everything that we saw at Night of Champions was going to happen at SummerSlam. It just, I guess, ended up happening a month and a couple days early. So your question of where does Triple H go from here, I actually don't know, because I feel like we're a month ahead on the program as to where we should be. By the way, I find this picture hilarious because I genuinely cackled in laughter when I saw all of these guys together, because I was like, brother, this is maybe the most oralist faction of all time, but I can't wait to see what these guys do. By the way, shout out to the GOAT Tongaloa returning. Cody Rhodes finished his story at WrestleMania 40. WWE champ, two-time Royal Rumble winner, 3 straight WrestleMania main events, first crown jewel champ, now king of the ring. He doesn't need to win everything. Let others shine. This is why crowds are starting to boo him. It's getting old. I'm not yet ready to say that this is why the crowds are booing him. I would say that the crowds are booing him predominantly because of the people that he's facing just have that deeper connection with the crowd because of nostalgia. John Cena and Randy Orton. I haven't seen him get booed outside of those two programs. If all of a sudden he starts getting booed against Damian Priest, then yeah, dude, brother, sound the alarm. We've got a problem. We'll see. I genuinely don't know for sure yet if him winning this much is going to turn the WWE fandom resentful. I mean, I've seen it before. I mean, John Cena is a perfect prime example, but then there was also Stone Cold Steve Austin, who won a ton, and same with Bret Hart, and people didn't really turn on either of those guys during the prime of their careers. Actually, I guess they kind of did turn on Bret Hart now that I think about it. For me, it's not quite getting old, but my argument isn't that I don't want to see Cody Rhodes win. It's that he doesn't need to win the opportunities like King of the Ring, like Royal Rumble anymore. Like, this is a ready-made man. This is a guy that you can just insert into the program that you want him in without overcomplicating things and making him go through tournaments and whatnot. Like I've already articulated in previous videos, this is a guy that literally already pinned the WWE Undisputed Champion and held that championship for over a year. That should just be an automatic rematch at SummerSlam. But no, WWE just decided to go through King of the Ring, which I think is an unnecessary roundabout way to get to the thing that they should have just done anyway. They need to decide how many arm drops are needed for a submission knockout. Jey Uso and Gunther both lost their titles after one. Kross was screwed out of his big win by the ref, giving Sami 3 chances. All jokes aside, consistency is important. Listen, I know you're joking, and when I said it on stream, I was also semi-joking, but I'm also not joking that much. There really should be consistency on this thing. How does it make sense that a championship match back to back, like you said, world heavyweight championship losses from Gunther and Jey Uso, both had the ref just check the wrist once, but Sami Zayn, a match that's not for a title, you check that thing 3 times? Come on, ref, check the VAR. What the hell is that all about? I know it doesn't matter because it's wrestling. The rules, they can be changed, bent, and interpreted in different ways, but can we have some consistency, please? I understand I'm sounding like a nerd mark, loser like that never leaves his mom's basement, but can we please, a little bit of consistency here. What is next for Karrion Kross? I think that he's super talented and I would love to see him as a world heavyweight champion, but he hasn't been booked in such a way in WWE. I hope this match opens more opportunities for bigger things for Karrion Kross. I mean, I would definitely temper your expectations. I would not be expecting Karrion Kross to be world heavyweight champion literally anytime soon, maybe ever. But you ask a really good question. What is next for Karrion Kross? When I made my review, one of the things that I do is try to like maybe predict where things can go in terms of storylines for everybody. And Karrion Kross was like the one guy I couldn't predict anything for based on how that match ended so definitively, so clearly, with Sami Zayn winning completely clean. And the fact that he already rarely got used to begin with, I wouldn't be surprised if we just kind of go back to square one and they don't use him at all, which I do think is a disservice because he had a good match. But again, I go back to what I said earlier, is just having a good match for the position that Karrion Kross was in. Is that good enough to get more TV time? Is that good enough to get a push? Is that good enough to appear at SummerSlam? I don't know. Congrats to Jade Cargill, but in my opinion, this is just the incorrect choice. The route from here is super predictable. Jade versus Tiffany at SummerSlam and Naomi cashes in. I'm sure that we will get Io versus Asuka, but Jade's run, this Queen of the Ring, has been a letdown. I mean, just to point out a little bit of inconsistency in what you're saying, you also basically admitted that had Asuka won, it also would have been a predictable route, her just going to SummerSlam to face Io Sky, which I hope they still do, by the way. Which, by the way, further proves the notion that just because it's predictable doesn't mean that it's bad. Like, imagine if all of a sudden they decided to do a swerve and give, I don't know, B-Fab the championship, and all of a sudden it's B-Fab versus Jade Cargill at SummerSlam. I mean, you didn't expect that. You didn't see that coming. Does that make that automatically good? Hell no. I don't think it was the incorrect choice because WWE just invested so much in it being Jade Cargill that had it not been Jade Cargill, it would have completely killed Jade Cargill. So I actually kind of feel like WWE kind of handcuffed themselves with the current run of Jade Cargill. They had no choice but to make Jade Cargill the Queen of the Ring. And by the way, I was underwhelmed with the match, as were many people that were sending in their thoughts about Jade Cargill's performance. I felt like Asuka kind of carried that match, and I just didn't feel that bout of confidence that I want to feel out of somebody that's getting a push like Jade Cargill is right now. That being said, I'm not off the Jade Cargill train. I'm very much still on it. I'm starting to see some cracks in the foundation that I would love for her to be able to address better. I need a banger Jade Cargill singles match, basically, is what I'm saying, because I've seen her have banger tag team matches, but I've yet to see that like classic Jade Cargill singles match that would really help me feel a lot more confident about a Jade Cargill singles run in the main event. It doesn't really matter whether or not I feel confident about it because it's just going to happen anyway. It was so confusing seeing Penta run out to save the main event. Obviously, they needed to equalize the interferences by Seth and his guys, but Penta felt a little out of place, if I'm being honest. So he made sense in terms of why he was there. He was feuding with Seth Rollins and B&B security, but I get what you're saying, that he felt out of place, but that's because you're just not used to seeing a guy that's been somewhat like of a mid-card guy interfering in such a big match with so many first ballot Hall of Famers in the ring like Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and John Cena. I think it was cool. I think it's cool that WWE is giving such a giant vote of confidence to a character like Penta, where traditionally in the 2010s, Penta would have just been added to a group of luchadors, been called the Lucha House Party. Oh wait, stuff like that actually did happen. This is why we didn't get Roman. WWE didn't want to spoil us with two goats returning on one night. I'm gonna ignore the fact that you spelled two with the wrong two, but I agree with your sentiment. By the way, John Cena, Gunther, your days are numbered as champion because the GOAT, Tonga Loa, is back, ladies and gentlemen. That is the true talking point of this show. Everybody wants to talk about John Cena, CM Punk, King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring. Haha, no, Tonga Loa. Having afternoon wrestling on a weekend and this insane crowd, I'm officially sold on having WrestleMania in Saudi. Let me just be super blunt about this. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. WrestleMania in Saudi is happening, like 1,000,000%. There's no getting around this. If you hate the idea of that, oh brother, I don't know what to tell you. You might just need to get used to it because it's going to happen. But But if you do hate the idea of a WrestleMania in Saudi, at the very least, I hope that the crowd and the people in the attendance made you maybe at the very least believe that it could be a good event, because they absolutely won me over. And by the way, I loved having that show end at like 4 p.m. my time so that I could actually get some sleep at a decent time after a PLE, because I never do, because I record for like 4 hours after PLEs. But I know, woe is me. First world creator problems. All right, folks, thank you so very much for watching today's Hot Takes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, goodbye, and get out of here.